Hello, everyone. Let's get started. We're already 1 minute over. Hopefully others can join us in progress. But before we begin, let's start with a few housekeeping items. I mentioned before this webinar started, please keep yourself muted. Just often people will join and there's a lot of background noise, and that makes it hard for others to hear. Use the chat for any questions, and if Shannon thinks that there's anything that she needs to interrupt me for, she can. And just a reminder that this webinar is recorded. I'll be circulating it around to all ACCs and posting it at a couple of these social media channels. Okay. On this month's product call, we learned that Linktivity Bundle will be available through ACT for APC customers starting December 7th, and all sales will count towards new bookings and ARR requirements for tier placement. So this is really exciting. This is an excellent opportunity for you all to enhance the customer experience, earn recurring revenue, and count these sales towards your quota. Okay, so let's start with the fact that Link2quotes is the crown jewel of our Linktivity suite. We've invested probably double the development time of any other product, but I have to tell you, it's been worth it. In July of last year, we actually switched from QuoteWorks to Link2quotes. Up till then, we were award-winning QuoteWorks resellers, loved the product and used it internally for well over a decade. And while I won't say anything negative about QuoteWorks, excellent company, excellent product, and it also helped me build this business, there were certain points that were a source of frustration. Firstly, we work on a lot of quotes. Okay. Let me just. Okay, sorry, just had to remind everyone that just joined us, please keep yourself muted. Okay, so we work on a lot of quotes, and certainly a lot of quotes at a time, and updating them was very, very time consuming. QuoteWorks required us to update each of them individually, when we often needed to update many at once, especially at the beginning of the month where a lot of the quotes had expired and we wanted to update, batches of them. That was very difficult. And then have those changes also reflected in ACT, so the corresponding opportunity changes. And then over the pandemic, we lost 2 salespeople that were poached from us, and we found the learning curve introducing the new salespeople to QuoteWorks really quite challenging, and really kind of delayed their production readiness, which cost us both time and money. We also found the limited platform and API support of QuoteWorks a problem, because my team wanted to be able to quote from anywhere on any device. And finally, and this is certainly a big part of why we're all here today, is while we got it free, QuoteWorks was becoming increasingly expensive for ACT for web users, or specifically ACT Premium Cloud users. And to get all the features of Link2quotes, which we'll demo here today, QuoteWorks would cost over double not just of Link2quotes, but over double the cost of ACT Premium Cloud itself, ranging often from $62 to $72 a month for full web access. Compare that to Link2quotes, costing only $20 per month per user for the team edition, and you can see how much easier it is to introduce it to new customers. After we made this switch, we never looked back, and many of our customers have joined us in this journey. The ACT leadership team has seen this program in action and love it, which is why they've partnered with us to distribute the Linktivity products. New customers, let's be honest, we're all resellers here, are very hard to come by, but upselling existing ones on products that make ACT stickier and increase your wallet share with these customers, and strengthen your position as a reseller, is easy and good for business. You guys all know that many improvements have been made to Link2quotes since we initially launched at the beginning of last year, but we're going to be going into this webinar treating all of them together as one, as if we're doing a pillar to post introduction of all the features, okay? And with that, let's get to linktivity.net. bring this over to my other screen here. Okay, so we are here at linktivity.net. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to log in to Link2quotes. Now, normally you would just click here. If you have customers that are leads and you want to give them a new trial, then they would click here, obviously. If you want to get information on the product, you click here and you can click on Link2quotes. Okay, but for today's purpose, we're going to click on My Account. Okay, and this is going to present all the changes. It's going to bring you to a home screen and immediately pop up all the changes to the program. We've been very, very actively updating all the programs. I'm going to get to a little bit of that at the end of this presentation, but you can go through that here in the change log. Okay, now I'm going to click here, but I'm already set up over here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring everyone through the settings. May not be the most exciting part to demo, but in order to understand the capabilities of the program, which we'll obviously get into, you need to understand some of the back-end setting controls, because that's really going to be, make some of its capabilities very evident. So the first thing is we're going to go into the settings. We're going to go into the general settings. You can see all your quote configurations here, your number preference, your both prefix and suffix. We now have a running number. Okay, this was actually a recent request where a customer was starting from QuoteWorks and they wanted to pick up that same number. So we said, okay, let's make that number assignable. Okay, the default validity is how many days will a quote be open by default. Default deposit rate, and then here is the delivery email content. Okay, and we'll get into the templates later, but the email templates that you're going to send out by default. Okay, here's the minimum number of digits and the default layout. We're going to talk a little bit about layouts in a bit, but they're over here. But which one are you going to use by default? Because you actually can use a number of them. The default deposit due, most people leave that as 0. Okay, but you can set it according to whatever makes sense for your business. And then the acceptance email content. Now, with the team edition, you can use a large library of email templates on the fly. With the standard edition, you only get to pick one per purpose. Okay, so you can't change them on the fly. Okay, so then we get into currencies, CAD, USD, euros, whichever you can add, the pound, whatever you use, you select as a default, is going to show up. That currency symbol is going to show up on the KPIs of the quote list, which I'll show you in a bit. Okay, but these are all official currency codes. You add in what's relevant, whether it's the pound or the lira or whatever it is they use in Australia. It will then show that symbol. Sales tax number, that's going to be relevant for some people, not others. Here's all the sales taxes and the different tax rates. These are available as a pick list that you can add on the fly. And then extra features here, use the ACT database. If you're a standard user of Link2quotes, this is all you've got. If you are a team user, then you can use the Link2quotes product database, which by itself, quite frankly, is enough of a reason to use the team level. Okay, identify product by name or item number. I'll get a bit more into that during this presentation. And then ask for email verification when accepting a quote. You may have some people that really have a high value industry where they're selling pools or other high values, and just simply having I'm going to type in an accepted quote may not be good enough for them, because they may want to protect themselves from people trying to back out of deals. So what you do if you enable this, when they accept a quote, it will email them a code that they have to enter in to lock the quote. Okay, so it's just an extra level of security. Acceptance notification, this was both needed by us and requested by many of our customers. So whenever a quote gets accepted, then you can put someone here that gets copied on every single one, so they don't have to be going back into the quote dashboard and refreshing all the time. They're notified by email every time, and if they're in charge of billing, they can action that immediately. And then online payment, I'll get into that a little bit later. Okay. Now, review process. I've talked about the bringing on new sales reps. Sometimes it's new sales reps. Sometimes, there's areas of familiarity that make you want to implement some guardrails for new sales reps or existing ones. So as you can see here, I've set up all the salespeople with the exception of Michael and Jason. These people do not require approval, but Michael and Jason do, primarily because of their lack of familiarity with the Canadian tax system and foreign exchange things. And we want to make sure that there's that one last checkpoint so that before they can release a quote, they have to have it approved by me, okay? And by the way, you can set multiple approvers in any organization, okay? And let's go to personalization. Now, last week I showed you guys how to set up the workspace that will govern the defaults for your entire organization. The personalization is the overrides, okay? So here, anything you set up here in the general as well, these will be the defaults, but you can actually say the default validity. Well, the company likes 30 days, I like 45, so I can put in 45 there. The default layout. If I'm Sylvia, for instance, on our sales team who sends out French quotes all the time, she's going to set a different layout because she's using the French template all the time. Same thing with different email content. She's going to have her own preferences. I can here set the default, what would be the default process and stage, and what's going to be my monthly quota. Now, this was introduced, an option suggested by Josh, which wouldn't have occurred to me internally, but hide quotes from other users. We're a very collaborative team, so that didn't occur to us, but he's had customers where it's, you know, all the sales reps are kind of siloed and they don't share, and they would rather not have their leads exposed to the other sales reps. So this allows you to hide your quotes from other users, okay? The follow-ups really provide you the ability to implement some automation, okay? And so what do I mean by that? So every single time I create a quote, it automatically schedules a follow-up call 5 days after that. So I don't have to do anything. It will automatically create that follow-up in Act. I can do it again after delivery follow-up. I don't really recommend that, but we've put that in because you can have a number of follow-ups. You really don't want to be triggering activities after each one. This one is really important though. After a quote gets accepted, okay, if I put in 0 days, then there's going to be a scheduled follow-up for me that day where I need to follow up with the customer that, you know, just purchased, okay, and that gets scheduled instantly in Act. And then the last bit, which customers really love, is being able to send out an automated reminder a set number of days before a quote expires. So you don't have to do anything. You just set this. I've set it at 1 day. Here is the quote template, and it will go out a day before that quote is scheduled to expire. So it's that one final nudge. And like us, if you've got lots of quotes, that's going to be a really, really challenging thing to manage manually. This does it for you automatically. Okay. Now the layouts, there's going to be several terms that sound similar. Layouts, templates, things like that. Layouts specifically reference what you see in a quote. So if I click on here to preview it, okay, it's going to insert standard product information, John Doe, you know, random company. It's going to show you what the quote looks like. And we've got our logo here. We've got the company information here, contact information. We've got the quotation, what we call it, could be proposal, could be quote, could be anything. And then all the information that we're surfacing here. Obviously, here's the bill to, and here's all the information we want. I can see my picture here and how the products are displayed. Okay, they can also see that I've got 2 of these other Linktivity products surfaced within the quote. One, please book an appointment with me if you have any questions. This automatically enables the link to calendar, which is really, really a great product synergy. And then also, you know, how are we doing? Like to take a survey or, you know, go through a form and then provide, you know, in-product customer feedback. Okay. But what's noteworthy about this is that you've got a lot of different templates. You can see Sylvia has built some for both English and French. You also can have, and I get asked this fairly regularly, where you'll have a company with multiple departments, okay, and all of which want to quote under different branding. Like let's say for us, it would be, you know, keystroke, and maybe someone else within the company would want to quote under handheld contact. Someone else may have wanted to quote under the Act Marketplace, whichever. You can do that And some want to do it under different companies, some want to do it under different departments. This allows you to build all these individual templates, change them on the fly, okay, and send them out as appropriate. Okay, in this case, we've actually got multiple languages, and when you assign a language code, like let's just go here, you can see the inside. Here's all the deposit information. Here's the alternate text. Here's the terms and conditions. You've got a lot of terms and conditions in your business. You can make this as long as you like, okay? And it surfaces as a pop-up. So you're not just sending people to external sources. Here's the closing text after they accept it. Here's some of those, I told you about the link to calendar and link to forms information in here, but here's where you load your logo, and here is the language code. So one of the things that is really handy is customers, we've got people on this call from Australia, from Europe, from France, and certainly in our country, we've got English and French. You can actually build templates with a language code, and depending on what the language code of that template is, it will read the translated information in the products. And if it's a French template, it will show the French product information. If it's English, it will show the English. So it can actually adapt to it immediately. Okay, and then you can kind of go through the different customization options. Scroll down here, you can show all this different information in quotes, quote expiry, currency, all that. And then the language overrides, okay? If you wanna have, instead of item, you want description, you can customize this pretty heavily, okay? Emails. Talked a little bit of emails where you can have a limitless amount of different emails relating to subjects, okay? Susan, nope, there is no offline version. This is totally online, okay? I'll show you one little thing that's available offline, but it's mostly a trigger, okay? So I see here's all the emails, and here's all the email templates that we can select on the fly. So if we're quoting Act Premium Cloud or doing a comparison or a Dash upgrade, we can actually have the whole email cover sheet prepared, and it will merge in the customer information because it's got merge fields, and you basically have to click send and go, okay? Pick list relates to videos and graphics. If you don't have the team edition, you have to store your external images here, which is the full address. But if you've got the team edition, then you can actually create a library of images uploaded from your hard drive and share those across all the team products. Videos, just for the sake of storage, we only allow them in pick list, but you can actually add videos from YouTube or Vimeo inside your quote. And the ACT field mapping is really important. When we first started this product, this was required, and it was a speed bump for a lot of people that were setting this up because there was never a good time to lock the database. They were constantly in production. So what we did is we made this optional. Okay, so the program will run completely without any of these fields created in the opportunity table. But if you do, then that really enhances the experience going back and forth between ACT and Link2quotes, because right from within the opportunity, you've got access to the quote internal link, so you can click on it and immediately brought to the edit mode, or the external link, the one that's customer facing, click on that and that goes, okay? The other fields like quote numbers and things like that, all of those can be added to the layout and that information synced over. But we decided that for the call drivers that it was creating, it wasn't really worth it to make it mandatory. So we've made it optional, and you as people's consultants can talk to them about the advantages and disadvantages. But here was the option where we actually put in locked database because people were tripping over this, and it was creating a headache for them. So let's close this. Okay, so now we've covered the settings, and you could see why I wanted to get into that, because now you can understand some of the review process and some of the default settings within the program. But here is a list, my list of quotes. Now let's see some of the things that are surfaced from the settings. I have a $20,000 quota monthly. It's actually showing me my progress here. I've got 62, just under 6,300, and it's showing me my progress, $13,701 to go. Okay, so that came from the settings. I'm selecting myself because when I'm in list view, I really only want to see mine and open. I only want to see ones that are valid this year. Okay, but if I want, I can do product filters as well. This was especially helpful in September and August when we were selling a lot of Act Pros, and I had specific follow-up campaigns for that. I would put in V24 here, click on apply, and it would immediately show me all my Act Pro quotes. Okay, and because of that, I was able to run multiple reminders to them en masse. Let me show you how I did that. So I put in a little filter there. They're all gone now. We deleted them, so I'm not going to use it again. But this is where I was talking about in the intro that I'm able to do within Link2quotes that I couldn't do previously. So now let's say that I've created a filter, and this is a pretty broad filter of all my open quotes that are valid this year. But let's say it was filtered down a little bit more, and I wanted to send a targeted message to them. I can click on here, and I can say send quote. Okay, and it's going to queue up. I can then select the template, whichever I want. You can see the quote fields here, here, here. Okay, here is the quote link, and I can send it out. It could be an inactivity reminder. It could be the sales ending soon reminder. It could be any number of things. Okay, and then let's say it was like, oh, I don't want to send it to a reseller. I could remove him from the list, just before sending. Okay. Now, another advantage of the batch updates is I can click on this, and let's say it's the first day of the month. All my quotes have expired, okay, because they're the expiry date and the valid to date was yesterday, okay, the last day of the previous month. Now I have to update them to push them to the next month. I can click on batch edit, and I can say valid to, and in one step, I click on OK, and every single one of those quotes are going to be valid to the end of the month I'm in. Plus, their opportunities get updated at the same time. Okay. Internally, those quotes were open but listed as expired. Now they're listed as open. Okay. And obviously, their status remains the same within the opportunity list, but their valid to date now is updated to reflect this. So both those changes are done instantly. I talked about salespeople getting turnover with salespeople. If I lost a salesperson, I wanted to assign the pipeline to a new salesperson, I can do that and assign it to a new salesperson. If I wanted to just update a bunch of quotes to indicate, hey, this was prepared by me, okay, then I can do that and change them en masse. Okay. This with QuoteWorks previously, if we had 40 or 50 quotes, this would take me sometimes a day or more to go in and change them in multiple spots. Now it can take 2 minutes. Okay, so this really changed how we were working with our quotes. Okay. So now I mentioned that. The other thing I just want to quickly show you is that everything that we've done within Linktivity and mostly within Link2quotes is responsive, is mobile responsive. So if I was to go like here, you can now see how this would render on a phone. And I've sent out lots of quotes from my phone or from my tablet, and you can see how each one of these things will render as mobile responsive here. Okay. So back to the list. Okay, so now you'll notice across the bottom, we've got all these filters here. I've got sort orders here where I can sort them. I always want to order them from biggest to littlest, so I'll have the biggest ones at the top. I can change them here. I can change the sort order. Okay. And then I can apply. A new feature here is that if you want to share something with someone internally that doesn't have Link2quotes, you can actually click on here, and this will export your pipeline so that they can see it. Where did it go? Right over here. And now you can see the pipeline within Excel. Okay, that was just actually introduced this past week. We've got the KPIs running across the bottom here, number of quotes. This is actually showing you the KPIs for this active filter, okay? So number of quotes responding to this filter, total value responding to this filter, weighted total minimum, maximum, and average, okay? Now, In all of these are all quotes. The status means open, okay? You saw me select these. Also have a number of actions here. I've got to preview a quote, okay? I can send the quote out on the fly. I can also get into editing. I'll do that a little bit more later. But under this ellipsis, I've got more actions. So this, if I'm reviewing this and let's say someone emails me, I can either copy the link or copy a short link because we have link to shrink built into this, a bit like Bitly. That's probably not a great way of saying it, but like Bitly that allows you to condense it into a human-friendly one. And with Link2quotes, all of them use the domain link2.bid, so something that's easy to remember. Okay, and then it will generate its own name. Okay, and in this case, there already was one, but if there wasn't, it would say create short URL and copy it to the clipboard. Okay. Download quote, this allows you to download the PDF. Here, right from within your quote list, if you look at something, it's like, hey, I haven't talked to Bob recently. I'm going to schedule a follow-up here, and this will immediately bring up this dialog screen that I could schedule a follow-up, okay? We default to timeless because you're not really referencing your calendar, so we recommend timeless so that it just goes in on any day. But now you can actually do your sales scheduled follow-ups right from within your call list, or your quote list, I should say. Okay, click here, accept quote. If someone has given you a verbal quote, you can click on accept, and if you do so, you can notify the customer, okay, so they will get notified of it, or you can clear this and just accept it internally without anyone being notified, okay? And the last one is disable and delete. Disable is taking it offline, is making it where you can't accept it. But the fact that it is now closed, it will close the opportunity as closed lost, and it will respond to the reporting, because I'm going to get into the reporting later. It's going to show you all the different reporting on lost quotes, so you can actually get an accurate indication of your batting average. But if you click on delete, it's like it never existed. It will prompt you to delete the opportunity, and then it's not going to respond to any reporting because it's gone. Okay, so those are your choices under that. Let's see, quote list. Okay, so we've got the valid to whereby talked about the multi-select, merging, actions, all that we covered, and I think that is it. So now we've covered all of this. Okay, this is obviously where you can type in a specific ad hoc search term. Okay, and this shows you all the filters that you currently have active. Okay, if I click on this, I can also click on this and expand. I may not want to see all of these, so I can expand them, but this, I can clear the filters and start new, okay? If I click here, it will also wipe them out. So let's go over to the activity dashboard. This is where people will spend a good chunk of their day, okay? They will be monitoring this. This is, to the people in this call, most similar to what Quote Valet was, really showing you an active display of all of your quote activity, both inbound and outbound, okay? And it's showing you it in real time. And if at any point you've been staring at the screen and you want to get an update, you can just click on refresh. I've got no filters applied here. I've set filters in terms of what type of activities, because I really don't need to see people sending out reminders, okay? I don't really care about that, but if it's cleared, it will show me everything, okay? But anyway, this is the dashboard. The filters, every filter that you apply, both here and here and here, are sticky. So when you exit and you come back, you're going to see the exact same filters applied. Okay. And let's see. Provide. Okay. Okay. So we've got all of this. Let's just show. You can see the green is a quote that's been accepted. So let's actually take a look at some of the activity here. So I can see here that 4 hours ago, Victor created a quote. It was from this IP. It was viewed from this IP. Okay, you can see that he passed it around. So another person viewed it 3 hours ago. It was accepted 3 hours ago, and then it was promptly paid for online using PayPal. okay, because that's built into the system as well, okay? If I click on this one, I can see that quote was created, viewed, and that's the current status. This is a quote that I sent out. I can see that it was created, it was sent, viewed, it was sent again with some additional recipients, received, or viewed, and now I can see a different IP 54 minutes ago has seen it. So this really is the kind of intel that anyone that in sales is going to want, because they can see a lot of quote activity. So right after this webinar, I'm probably going to follow up with this guy to see if he's ready to go, because I could see a lot of activity within the last 24 hours. Okay, this is catnip to salespeople. This is all the kind of visibility that you're ever going to want. Okay, but this is in production. So let's actually talk about, we've got a team of people here and we want to actually see the results. So I'm going to click on reports. Okay, and now I get to see all the reports. I've already got a filter applied, and as I said, it's sticky. It's this month, any salesperson, referred by, group by salesperson, and I can immediately see all the deals won. I can see so far this month, we've got just under 37,000 in new sales. I can see Shannon's leading the way, followed by Jason, and the rest of us are pretty close together, okay? We can see not only the total revenue, but we can see the total deals, we can see the profit margin for each one as well, minimum, maximum, and average. You can see here displayed on the chart, you brush your mouse across it, you're gonna see total value, but you can also see where it gets dark here, okay? It's showing the percentage that is the margin, okay? Scroll down here, you can see open opportunities. You can see right now we've got 80,000. This isn't our total pipeline. This is the what's available or what's expected to close this month. Okay, and you can see all the different breakdowns for each person. Quotes by status. Okay, open quotes, deals won, deals lost. Remember I said if you deleted a deal, okay, as opposed to disabled it, deleted would not show up here, but disabled would. Expired quotes as well, okay? And then expired quotes by salesperson. Now here's two, by the way, I preferred these reports to be in this order. I like to see the deals won at the top. I like to see that followed by open quotes, but if I want, I can move them up and down, and wherever I leave them, that sort order is sticky. Just like down here, daily deals, I don't really care about daily deals. I'm not going to be monitoring it quite that granularly. And deals lost by salespeople, that's not something I really want to focus on, okay? Now, templates, remember I said there's different ways of saying the boilerplates. Templates are saved quotes. These are the kind of quotes that I do over and over and over again. You can well imagine that when during the last 45 days of Act Pro, we had a number of Act Pro quotes, okay? Some were by themselves, some of them include small support plans, some of them included things like Act for Outlook. So we had a number of different quotes that we can enable on the fly. And I'm going to get into showing you how those work when we get into actually creating a quote. Now, the products, okay, this is, I think, one of the main reasons, okay, to use the team edition, okay, is the products. So most people want to get up and running from either their accounting system or another quoting solution. So what you can do is you can click on import from file, okay, download the template, which is just a spreadsheet with all the column names. You then arrange all the columns, okay, so all the information is structured in the same way as the template, and then you just import it, okay, and it supports standard Excel spreadsheets, and it's fast. We had I had a customer I set up recently, exported all his I think 10,000 products from QuoteWorks, and we imported in, I think, in about 25-30 seconds, and boom, all their products were here. Okay, if you look at here, you can copy products, you can find quotes by name, by item, but let's say I want to actually edit one. So here, you guys, most of you guys are familiar with the admin pack. You can see the different breakdowns that are available in defining a product. So first of all, is it a product or is it an upcharge? What's the name? What's the item number? This item number is very important if you're going to implement any accounting integration, because this is what the accounting program is looking for as a SKU. Okay, what is the brand? What is the category? Here is a fully formatable section for product description. You can also use a product image. So in this case, I can click on here and I can grab something from here. Okay, let's just say, let's just grab a random image here, select, okay, and now this is part of the product, okay? Product link is useful if I want to actually show the hyperlink where people can learn more about the products. They can actually click on the quote, the link inside the quote, and be taken to maybe that product information on your website, rather than detailing pages of information inside the quote. Here is the list price. You can also add quantity discounts. So maybe at 5, you know, this becomes a different rate, whichever, okay? I can set here, let's say 35%. I can change it here or change it at the quantity level. Doesn't make a difference, okay? I can delete it here. Options group, I'm going to get into a little bit that later. It's generally things that you'll want to put on the fly. Product options, is this product optional? Again, this is something that is an in-product feature, and then the sales taxes, okay? Okay, so let's just pause
Hey,
here.
Ken, yeah, we have a couple questions.
Okay, so Susan's asked me about accounting programs that are integration compatible. I'm going to get to that at the end, because that's going to be a surprise announcement. So it's going to seem less surprising now with this foreshadowing, but we'll deal. Scott, I am logged into Linktivity account. I don't see a lot of the settings that Ken is showing. Scott, you probably got the Linktivity bundle, which is the standard tier of all of them. Contact me afterwards and I'll upgrade you to team. Okay, so you're not seeing things like the products and some of the other features. So this is a tour of the team feature, so that might explain that. Okay.
And Ken, there was one other question from Jean. She asked if online payments are available in the standard edition.
I don't believe so. No. Okay. Good question though. Okay, let's continue. So the other thing that you can do here is, you see where it says translations? You can click here, add a translation, put in the language code, okay, and then provide a complete description, name, description, product link, whichever, of that product, but in that other language, okay? The benefit of that is, previously when we were using QuoteWorks, we had to have a French database and we had to have an English database. And that caused us to update product prices in both places all the time, and that process broke down. Now, we could add in multiple languages here, okay, and we only have to update the pricing in one. Okay, so that's really handy. And like I said, depending if you're using a French layout, it will surface the French description of the products there. If there's no French description, it's just going to show the default one. Okay. Images, I just showed you guys the image. Oh, by the way, you can export all of this to either CSV or XLSX, and then you can also see throughout the program, we've got these little question marks that give you contextual help based on where you're at. Okay, so wherever you are, you're going to see relevant help to that section. Okay, and we've built that into just about every single page. Okay, here's the search. You can see here, you can search by base or by French. Okay, and then add a new product. Okay, with that, let's move on to the images. Now, literally in the last 2 weeks, we made this image database shareable across all the team products. So now, as you build an image database, you can use it with Link2quotes, you can use it with Link2forms, you can use it with Link2events, and you can use it with Link2surveys, the team edition of each. So that was something that we probably should have figured out earlier, but we got there eventually. So this is a shareable database. If you want to upload an image, it's as simple as boom, and up it comes, and there it is. And now you can use that in a quote, okay? And I'll actually show you how to do that in a bit. So we've added this here, and then documents, and by the way, it's tracking how much space you've got available here. So we give everyone 100 megs. We are using a lot. Oh, as you can see, we don't expect people to be using quite as much as us, okay? And that's only 17% of our available space, okay? We use obviously compression technology as it's being uploaded, but it still displays it in fairly large resolution, okay? And the last one, documents. This was something that we knew there would be a need for. If you've got company brochures, you've got standard things that you want to include with all proposals, you can upload them here and make them available to all users as you're sending out quotes on the fly. Okay, so you can just attach them on the fly and they'll be available to you here as a little library. So I see 2 more quotes or 2 more questions. Okay, Gene, so in standard edition, all the product info comes from ACT. That's correct. So in the standard edition, you have to use the product database within ACT. The team edition, you've got your own product database. Guys, I'm not going to mislead you. Almost everyone buys the team edition once they take the Pepsi challenge. There really isn't any comparison. Okay, Adrian, I don't normally read questions from Australia, but I'll make an exception here. Are ACCs able to get access to the products on an NFR basis? Everyone but those from Australia. So that's our standard rule, and we'll consider separate pleadings offline. Okay, so with that, let's go to creating a quote. So I'm going to go back to the quote list, and you're going to see the big new button. Okay, and I'm going to click on new, and it's going to load one of 3 ways that I can create a quote. Now, I haven't done a presentation in the last 2 months where I haven't apologized for our internet. This won't be any exception. It is, oh, Adrian indicates that he is in the UK. UK is fine. It's really my own prejudice against them and the Dutch. So as long as you guys are in the UK and not Australia or Netherlands, you're fine. Okay, so as I'm loading this, okay, and as I said, my internet's very, very slow. So now you can see here, I'm creating a quote, create from scratch, which is what I'm going to demonstrate today, use an existing opportunity, okay, or create from template. I talked about templates a couple of times, showing you guys all the different templates that are available so that you can just select this and boom, it loads all the information in, okay? Okay, Robert has asked me, I've created a number of videos, including this one, so you'll be able to reference this later. Not sure you'll be able to tolerate listening to the sound of my voice quite this much, but you brought it on yourself. So now let's, since Bob Purdy, okay, quote to Bob Purdy. I always like to punish people that raise their hands. So now let's create the quote. And this is going to get into the real meat of the process, okay? Now, this is far and away our most thorough webinar on the subject, so I am going to run probably about 10 minutes over. Let me just apologize in advance while we're waiting for this to load. From home, this operates actually quite a bit faster, and even on my tablet, it operates faster, but in our particular area, we can't get more than 10 megabits DSL, okay? So
Can
while
Tony ask, can the quote be done on a mobile phone as well?
Thank you for teeing that up. I have actually created many quotes from my phone and tablet. One time this past summer, I was sitting in a hammock at the cottage and an ACC emailed me. I literally pulled out my phone, sent out a quote for the admin pack. 5 minutes later, it was accepted and paid for. I had actually never moved. Okay, so it could be done from phones, tablets. My favorite story was the time that I was in the McDonald's drive-through and I got a Slack to request a customer quote. While I was in line, I prepared the quote. By the time I got to the cash window, I put down my phone and it was accepted and paid for by the time I brought my kids home their dinner. Okay, so now we're in here. You can see I've got the quote name. It's auto-generated a quote number. The layout is the default, and now I've got the bill too. So with this, I'm going to put in Purdy because I don't know if I'm using Robert or Bob. Okay, and I can see I've got Bob Purdy. Let's go with that one here. Okay, he's in our database a few times, probably different people too. I'm going to select my default here is US CAD, but he's obviously not going to pay in beaver pelts. So I'm removing all the sales taxes. I could see that it's defaulted to 30 days from today. It's defaulted to that I'm the salesperson because I'm the one logged in. It's also said assume that I'm the one preparing it. The quote status is open, and if I wanted to, I can select on a quote by quote basis to hide it from people. Okay, now I can add a second person to the ship to, and they will both get copied on it, and they'll also be both be linked to the opportunity. Okay, now preface, this is a feature that we built in where let's say that there's a lot of assumptions and there's a lot of details that you've got to put in that don't relate to products or services. You can say, you know, based on the proposal that we discussed, you can type all of this in, put in the preface, and by the way, at this point I can save it. Okay, and you see this little preview button up here. If you try to save it without a person's name here or contact, it won't let you. Okay, but while this is saving, I really got to do these demos from home. If I click on lookup, okay, I can click on create new contact. So let's say that I got a business card from someone and they're not even in my database. I can actually add that contact on the fly via the API. Really, really handy, especially if you're working with mobile devices, especially if you're in the field. Okay, so I can add here, click on add this in and add them on the fly. That isn't available on any other quoting program that I'm aware of that works with ACT. Okay, you can see here's the default URL. If I decided to create a short URL, you can see it's linked to bid and it's auto-generated one. Okay, I can now click on here to see what the quote looks like. I don't have any products, so I'm not sure this is going to work, but we'll see in a second. I don't normally preview without products. Okay, oh wait, there it is. Okay, so here, when I enabled that preface thing, you could see here that it's not only put that in, but it's created an entire section, okay, that I can put in the descriptions for, okay? You can see it's put in my handsome face here, put in all the quote details and the formatting here, okay? Bob, not sure if this is all your current information, but I can see I've selected to put in the email and the phone number here, just in case I want to follow up inside Linktivity. I've got all their contact information available, okay? Now I'm going to click here, just remove this because I don't have any occasion to use it, and I'm going to go back. Now I'm going to click on line items. So I'm going to create two types of products. One is a bundle, okay, and another one is comparable products that are I'm going to create as an either or, okay. First one, I'm going to create a product bundle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this APC with Orange Care, okay. Now the reason I'm going to call it that, and or not the reason I'm going to call it, the reason I'm going to create this bundle is if I'm going to quote someone, let's say 5 licenses, then they've got to buy 5 Orange Care. Okay, so I don't want them changing the quantity. Now it finally saved and blew up my bundle. Okay, so I'm going to say APC with Orange Care again. Okay, I'm going to say make quantity editable, and now I'm going to save this. And what I can do now is I can add products by clicking on the plus here, okay, as opposed to over here, and I can add products inside the bundle. So now over here, I'm just going to type in, I'm going to wait for this to save so it doesn't blow me up here. Come on. Okay, see, Yep, there's can't be null, of course, I know that. So now we're going to type in cloud. Now I could search for products one of two ways. One is just by typing in here and clicking on, let's just say desktop sync. And I can say, okay, we've got this. Here's the cost. This item is optional. Mark this item as selected. Hide quantity and unit price. Hide quantity and unit price is really useful when you're dealing with bundles, because you may not want to show what the individual unit costs are for each line item, because that will allow people to kind of go through and maybe pick them apart where they might not otherwise want to. Okay, so that's the first item. I'm going to click here and I'm going to type in, I'm going to search for the products using this now. And the reason that I might want to use this option is if I'm going back a number of times, you're going to see what I mean here. So I'm going to say Orange Care. Okay, you can see here one of each. So this is the cost. Okay, and I've made this editable so that when I send out the quote, if the customer decides to change the quantity up or down, they can do it. Okay, and I'm going to make this a simple bundle. They can't see the individual prices of each. They can only see the gross amount. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them the option of Act Premium Cloud versus Premium. Okay, so I'm going to click on product outside of the bundle, and I'm going to click on here. Let's say I type in Premium. Okay, I've got annual premium description, and I'm going to say option group is Act. The reason I'm typing in option group is because I want them to choose between Act Premium annual subscription and Act Premium Cloud. I don't want them picking both, okay? And I can even add this option group to this top one so that they can't pick two of any like multiple options here, because they're all mutually exclusive. So now I'm going to click on here again, and I'm going to say cloud, and I'm going to say, let's say desktop sync. Okay, so now it's got Act in here. I'm not going to make this optional. So now if they pick one, it will deselect the other. Okay, now I'm just going to click on save. Let's see if there's any questions. How do quotes with options affect total price or the pipeline values? So the price or the value of your opportunity, if there is a product in there that is deselected, it goes in as quantity 0. Okay, and then if it's enabled, then it has a a valid multiplier. Okay, so now let's take a look at, we've got 4 different options, or 3 different options. I'm going to click on preview. Okay, you can see that while I can deselect the options inside this bundle, I can't see the price. Okay, and I can't change the quantity because this is a bundle and the quantity gets changed here. Okay, and then here are my other 2 options. And if I select that, it deselects the other one. But I don't particularly like how this looks. So I'm going to play around with the layout of it a little bit. So I'm going to put in, let's say, subheader, and I'm going to put Act choices separately. Okay, and once I've written it out, I'm just going to drag it up above this. So there's a bit of and then I'm going to say, you know what, let's add another little separator here. Okay, so now I've made them reasonably distinguishable. If I go in here, preview, okay, I could see very, very clearly separated, and the customer is able to, kind of visually separate those options. Okay, but now I want to dress it up a little bit. So I'm going to say, let's add an image. I've showed you the image library. These are all Act Premium. So let's go to, I think we've got, where is the Act 25 one? There it is. I'm going to put this right here, which is actually now what I want to do is I want to add a video. And remember I said you can only use the pick list. So now we're going to put in the ACT commercial video. Okay. So now I've created my quote. Okay, I've got mutually exclusive options. I've got bundles here. I've added videos. I've added images. I've got the ability to put a running subtotal as well. Headers go at the top as opposed to subheaders, allow you to put them anywhere you want. I can add an attachment. So I can actually add an attachment inside the quote here if I wanted. Okay, but this quote I'm fine with. Just one final check. Okay, here's the image. Oh, here's the ACT commercial video. Let's see what this looks like. This will pop up and it's going to start playing the video right inside the quote. Okay, so you've got all kinds of visual. You can hyperlink this, so this takes them off to different pages as well. Okay, and now you've got a fairly detailed quote. This one even allows me to edit it. So you can see here, there's nothing on total. That's for you, Adrian. But if I selected it, and it goes, I click on increasing, it's going to increase it up by denominations of 600 bucks because it's including Orange Care and the ACT Desktop Sync, okay, or ACT Premium Cloud Desktop Sync. And you can see here from the lines that all the other two options were deselected, okay? So now I'm fine with this. If I want, I can check my opportunity and say, nope, this is an ACT product sales cycle. This is quotation. Okay, I can adjust, you know, the actual or the estimated close date if I want. Now, what is log? This was actually requested by our sales staff where you may want to actually add sales notes, like case notes that you gather during the sales process. This may, in our parlance, relate to deployment information. This person is currently using a Palm Pilot and is not ready for Windows just yet. Okay, sorry, Bob, this is what happened when you put up your hand. So what has happened with this? Well, this is not customer facing. This has been written to the notes of the opportunity section, okay? And the last thing is the activity. This is going to show you all the activity relating to this quote. Well, I haven't sent it yet, so there isn't a whole lot. I've got created, and now you can see here that a schedule has been made for 5 days from hence to follow up with Bob, okay? I want to go back here, and now I'm going to click on Save and Send, okay? And now you can see it's auto-completed based on the default template that it loaded. I could add in BCCs if I want. If there was another person copied on this quote, they would be put in here. But I can also change the quote template with the team edition on the fly. This is an ACT Cloud Premium comparison quote. So now I've got verbiage relating to, you know, that particular Pepsi challenge, premium versus premium cloud. I don't have to type it. Automatically the subject line is sent out. I can also say attach the PDF in the email. So why would I do this? I would not do this by default. Well, we're only able to track click-throughs of the link. If someone opens an attachment of the email, we have no visibility on that. So I like to keep this deselected so that I have that visibility. But if on the fly, I want to upload from my computer or select from documentation some additional information relating to the company, the products, myself, whichever, I can do that on the fly. Here's an ACT brochure. I can, you know, put in a link to Steve Martin's LinkedIn profile, whichever, okay? And that's just because I could see he's on this call. Okay. And see, he's smiling. Okay, now I can, I've got all the information. I can also edit this on the fly if I choose, if there's something that needs to be customized for this particular user. Okay, but now it's ready to go. Now, here's one little trick. I ran into customers that really love their Outlook email signatures and everything. So what you can do is if you don't want to send it from this, you can actually download the EML, okay? And this will download here, the file, and we'll open it up in Outlook, which I forgot I closed. Okay, so that took a second or two, but, and actually it just brought it over here. Now I can see here, it's brought over the template, And if I wanted, I can insert maybe my own signature information in here. Okay, oh, I think this is actually oh, there it is. Okay, with GIFs and everything else, and I can use it for this. So I had some people that really were very disciplined in particular with how they sent out emails, and they used different signatures for different occasions. And so we built that option in, okay? And now I've canceled it and I can send it out regular. So Bob, I'm gonna send this out. You can accept it and we will implement the appropriate payroll deductions, okay? And that's sending out a quote. Simple as that, okay? You've seen all these updates have created the opportunity when it gets accepted. If I go back to the dashboard now, Bob, if you could be kind enough to open that up when you see it, but now you can see the latest activity was 13 seconds ago. It was sent out. I normally do this with staff so that I can get their cooperation a little bit better. Bob's just a victim in this case, so I don't know if he's willing to play along. But if you do, Bob, great. Okay. If he clicks on that quote, I'm going to get an updated activity indicating what IP he clicked on it from. It was open, so on and so forth. And that's going to give me an indication that, hey, it went through. Now I can initiate my normal post quote delivery follow-up. Okay. I've already got a follow-up scheduled in ACT, and now I'm ready to go. Okay. And if he accepts it, he's going to get prompted. Oh, he just clicked on the link. Thank you. Let me see. I don't see it yet. Okay, I'm not getting an indication. If you click on the link inside the quote to open the quote, not just the email. So just let me know when you've got that done. Okay, because normally we get notification of that pretty much to the second. Okay. And that is the completion of the quoting process. Okay. We're just 2 minutes after. I've got about 5-10 minutes of additional announcements to cover this, but you've seen everything in work. This is something that we spend all day in, guys, and this allows people to send out quotes from anything and any device, anywhere. Mac users can use it, mobile users can use it, tablets, PCs, anything, okay? And obviously with the emergence of Active Premium Cloud for Web, this is now an environment that doesn't require anything to be installed. However, let me just bring over my act here. Just going to go to look up my record. Susan asked me if there was anything online. Okay, well, let me show you the only thing that's online here. Okay, or sorry, on premise, I should say, is we do have plugins that are available so that when you are looking at a particular contact, you can click on Create Quote, and this will actually load the screen, say new quote for Ken Quigley, and it will load it and pre-populate the contact right into it. Okay, queue up the opportunity, so on and so forth. Okay, Bob has indicated he's accepted the quote. Did you see that? My little quote total just moved because Bob accepted the quote for 480 bucks. Okay, hasn't paid for it yet, but we'll have our accounts receivable team follow up separately. Okay, but you can see how quick this process is. You can see that my quote, my running total immediately adjusted. And if we go over here, you can see that my number went up by the same amount. Okay, now let's say that you've got a salesperson that or sorry, not a sales or the business owner that does not subscribe to Link2quotes but wants to get regular information. Well, what you can do is say, okay, I'm going to send you over an email with open quotes and closed deals. Okay. Now I'm going to click on open it up. And this is the email queued up, ready to go, sending out either internally or externally. But now this person has a snapshot of all your quote and sales activity. By the way, I didn't show you something that is quite cool. Let's say you want to see how you're doing compared to last year. You can do comparison and say, compare me to the previous month, okay? And it's going to show me that all these people are behind. Show this to the previous year, same month last year, okay? Now it's going to show me Shannon is 4,200 behind. I'm 22,000 behind. Well, it's only the 10th. Sylvia's behind. Okay. Jason wasn't part of the sales team back then, so he's almost 9,700 bucks to the good. And Victor is 7,200 bucks behind. Okay. And if you want to do a profit margin report, you can see all the different products that you quoted and your margin for them. Okay, so you can email it, you can, and the whole point, guys, is all these different tools will expand the people that want to be involved, because now you can bring in salespeople, bring in accounting people, bring in the owner, bring in admins that are processing them to accounting, things like that. So you widen the net of licensing eligibility. Okay, because they need an ACT license in order to use this. So this is something that not only is quite nice for generating revenue on its own, okay, but it is really quite powerful in doing our jobs and kind of landing and expanding within a company, okay? But we're 6 minutes after, so I want to wrap up and cover quickly. Karen's last question: in the team edition product table, is there a limit to the number of quantity, price level discounts? I haven't run into any. Okay, I thought you were going to ask, is there a limit to the products? I did an import of 10,000 products last week, and I think it took about 30 seconds. Okay, so there isn't limits that I'm aware of in terms of the pricing tiers or to the products that you can import. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Future features. So just want to go back here. Going to go to the home here. Go to home. Here is all the features that we've added recently. You can go through them on your own. Okay, it's accessible from the home page as well. Okay, let's go to here. Okay, where you can go to updates and you can view all the logs there. Obviously, it's brought me inside because I've got an account, but if you don't have a login, it will show you it from within the context of the website. But you can read all the things that we've added recently. The big news that I'm excited to share is that we will, in the next couple of weeks, be introducing QuickBooks Online integration. Okay, what does that mean? Well, right within Link2quotes, you will be able to create a customer, okay, from a quote. Okay, so that you say create the customer, it will create the customer. Create the transaction. Okay, so you'll be able to take a quote that's accepted. You won't be able to convert it twice, okay, but you'll take that transaction and then you'll be able to push it out to QBO, and you can select whether you want to send it as an invoice, a sales receipt, a sales order, as an estimate. You'll know sometimes if you send it out as an estimate, it gives you the option to convert it both into a purchase order or and an invoice. So you get different options with each transaction type, and then create products that do not exist. Okay, so we'll be introducing that in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, QuickBooks itself integration is already available through our Q Sales product for both QBD and QBO, but since we're aiming for the ACT Premium Cloud market web only, with Linktivity, we wanted a feature that allowed you direct integration with your accounting from within your Link2quotes. Okay, we're going to continue doing the translation for French, and then things like link to list. I'll be covering the new features with each product that we go through on this training series, but link to list isn't on them. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on link to list. It's a scrubbing tool, but we're very excited about what we'll be implementing shortly. Currently, Link to List integrates with Bright Verify to perform distribution list scrubbing right from within ACT. Well, we've actually developed our own email verification system, so you will be able to use Link to List with with internal email verification at a significantly reduced cost, and it will be able to check your email list and update your database accordingly using the same. So you'll have a choice of using the integrated product or the in-house product to do your email verification. Right now, Bright Verify charges about 1 cent. Our email verification costs will start at like half a cent and go down to a third of a cent. Okay, so for people that want the upgrade option using one of the best services available on the market, that's still going to be there. For people that just want the basic email verification, this will be available at a fraction of the cost. So we're pretty excited about that. Link to surveys, we already did the webinar. We do have a public webinar next Thursday. Please go to keystroke.ca/events and review the available upcoming events, and you will see the Link to surveys one. We did one a couple of weeks ago before the ACT made the distribution partnership announcement. But with Link to surveys, if any of you guys have ever participated in any kind of service or any kind of worked with a company, they send you out an email afterwards, and it will have like a happy face, a sad face, and kind of a meh face. Well, basically they're using survey technology, because when you click on one, it will jump you into the survey, okay, pass your ID information in so you don't have to identify yourself, and it will bring you to the appropriate stage in that survey based on that response as if you'd completed it inside the survey. So this allows you to use what's called skip logic from the email, okay, and bring you to the appropriate one. So if I say I'm happy, it brings me to, hey, any other comments? If I say I'm sad, it brings me to a different section of the survey that will maybe solicit more information on you know, the source of my discontent. So all of that is going to be available next week, and we'll be demoing that as a new feature, and we're pretty excited about that. We've got other features, as I said, in Link to Forms, Link to Events, and Link to Calendars that we'll be announcing and demonstrating during the training schedule from now until December 1st. And that's it. We're 12 minutes over. I do apologize. I know I've tested your patience a little bit, but I do want to see if there's any questions available or any questions from anyone, so you can unmute yourself now or submit them into the chat. Nothing. Oh, hold on. Where are all the videos stored? The videos are stored on, we've got them in the Linktivity. Also, by the way, we covered this last week. If you go into the, you can click on here. Let's actually just go. Not only do we have help everywhere, but if you just go to linktivity.net, okay, you click on user manual. We have an entire list of user manuals for every single section, every product, every description, and many of them have videos inside them. So you can see setup guides, you can see breakdowns of different chapters and all of this. So it really allows you to drill down, much like the ACT videos do, allow you to really pinpoint precisely what you're looking to brush up on. Okay. And Louise, is there a maximum length of characters on a product description? Not on the product description itself, but on the product name, sorry, on the opportunity name. Right now, there's a 64 character limit on an opportunity name. We will allow you to create a quote with a longer name than that, okay? But Link2quotes will truncate it for the purposes of passing down a valid name. Previously, we would get an API error before we did that. In terms of product description, I haven't run into one that, and maybe someone can help me out with this, but I haven't run into one that's affected the use of the program. Okay. Okay, excellent. We are, as I said, 14 minutes over, so I don't want to keep you guys much longer, but thank you very much. This is my favorite product in the Linktivity suite. We use this internally. We use it all day long, and it has been fantastically useful for us being able to keep up with our sales demands and be able to do operate literally in the most efficient way possible. Okay, so I hope you guys all enjoyed this. I really mean it, guys. I was having a little fun with Adrian and picking on the Dutch and the Australians. If any one of you guys as certified resellers want an NFR, just let me know. I have distributed out Linktivity bundles, which includes the standard tiers, which is good for most cases. But if you guys want a team tier, just let me know and I'll send you out an NFR of that. This is a really, really powerful program. If you guys use this internally, you will find that this is something that you pick up extremely quickly. And I talked to you guys about one of the frustrations we had with QuoteWorks, where it was very, very difficult to learn. We haven't run into many cases where people aren't using this on the first day. Okay, like new sales reps aren't using this in the first day. So this is something that that people can really be production ready on day one. Okay, and like I said, if you're worried about them at all and letting them loose into the wild, you can put guardrails on them and require them to get all their quotes reviewed before they're sent out. Okay, this is it. Thank you very much. I will have the recording saved and ripped and distributed. You should, everyone who registered and pretty much all ACC should get it tomorrow. So thanks again for attending and have a great weekend.